Numbers. Numbers are the solution to all of your problems. Okay, first things first, let's get a couple things out of the way because I know that there's going to be comments that after I explain this, somebody's gonna be like, you can't just do that because you gotta know how to do all this other stuff first. Like, yeah, you gotta, this isn't gonna be an overnight fix. This is how to think about the concept in order to make it easier on yourself. But there's other things that you gotta have in place first. I mean, let's start with the basics, like play your scales, learn your scale. Why do we play scales? Well, because if you want to be able to play in any key, your hands have to be familiar with the shape of each of those keys. You know, whether you're playing just in C or E, each of those keys has a shape that your hands need to be, you know, familiar with before you can easily navigate the different keys. So I guess if we were to stop at just being able to play in the key, play your scales. But this is more aimed at, okay, if you've been playing your scales and you're pretty comfortable playing scales in different keys, how then can you translate that to chords and ultimately playing the songs that you want to play, but being able to play them in whatever key? That's what this video is about. Also, I want to point out before I start that this is in no way like the definitive, here's how you do it. This is the generally accepted way in music theory class that they're going to teach you. Like, I don't really know. I just know that this is how I've always thought about it. So this is what works for me. So my apologies if there's some other thing that you can do or should do that's, I don't know, more along the lines of like a music theory curriculum. So we think of numbers a lot in music. Obviously, when we're talking about like basic triads, we know that they're built with 1, 3, and 5. And then logically, if you think about it long enough, you might figure out that that's because we're talking about scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can continue 6, 7, and that'll bring you back to 1. An important distinction here is that what I'm gonna show you, we can pretty much talk about between 1 and 7, because after that we're talking about repeated notes. Now, that's different from chords, because with chords, if you want to add color tones beyond the octave, we call that upper extensions. And that's when you start talking about your 9ths, your 11ths, your 13ths, your sharp 15ths. But for our purposes, we're going to consider that chord spelling to be a different sort of approach than what we're talking about, which is just scale degrees. And once we get to 7, we're repeating again. So we'll keep it relegated to like 1 octave, just for simplicity's sake. So if we take a look at that scale and we have 1 through 7, that's going to correspond to chords too, right? Because we have, if we start each chord, we're going to call this the 1 chord. We're going to call this the 2 chord, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that brings us back to 1. So the first thing you'll notice is that those chords, when we just use the naturally occurring scale tones, some of those chords are major, some are minor, right? We have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, and this one is the only outlier. It's like diminished kind of. So if we're in the key of C and I say, well, play a 1 chord to a 4 chord to a 3 chord, the default is going to be 1, which will be major, 4, which will be major, and then 3, which will be minor. Now that can always change if it's specifically indicated that it's different, but in general, the naturally occurring state of those chords is pretty much going to be that. You can already kind of see what's going on here. The key here is that I don't want to think C major, F major, E minor, A minor, G major. I don't want to think about that. That's too specific. I want to think 1, 4, 3, 6, 5, whatever, right? Why do I want to think 1, 4, 3, 6, 5? Because say I all of a sudden want to play an E flat. Well, 1, 4, 3, 6, 5. It's gonna be the exact same thing. The key with numbers, the reason why we want to think in numbers is because numbers are universal. Because no matter what key you're in, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. Whatever key we're considering to be the home base in the particular context, whether it's an entire song or part of a song, maybe a small part of a song is in like a different key for a minute. But whatever key at any given time that we're considering to be the home base, all of our numbers are going to reference the scale tones of that key. So if we're in E flat's going to be 1, F is going to be 2, G is going to be 3, A flat is going to be 4, B flat is going to be 5, and so on and so forth. Now that does not change if we go to A. A is 1, B is 2, C sharp is 3, D is 4, E is 5, and so on and so forth. So this idea of using numbers makes it so that every key all of a sudden becomes identical in every way other than the actual physical shape of it. And again, that's where scales come in. You gotta play your scales. There's no way around it. It sucks. Nobody wants to do it, but we have to do it. But the idea is that thinking in numbers makes every single key identical in every way other than physical shape. From there, everything that we make alteration-wise is the same as well. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4? Sure, why not? 5. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4? Yeah, you bet, 5. But the best part about it is that I don't have to think B flat, C, D, E flat, F. And then when I switch keys, now I have to think G, A, B, C, D. And then when I switch keys again, I have to think E flat, F, G, B flat, A flat, B flat. Everything's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This makes life so much easier, because the only thing you need to know about any song you want to play is what is the form in numbers. Does it go 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1? All right, well, let's do that then. In very basic chord structure, we'd have 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Now, if I were to actually elaborate that and make the chords more colorful and more melodic, that right there could look like this. 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. So that's all in reference to the C major scale, because that chord sequence happened to be in C major. But if we change key, say now we have a 2, 5 leading to the 4. So let's start. All right, let's take that apart for a second. I just played 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. And now I want to play a 2, 5 to the 4. This sounds like a bunch of numbers, sounds like a bunch of gibberish, but check it out. 2, 5 to the 4, leading to the 4. What's the 4? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so F. So I guess we're changing key and we're gonna go to F, but we wanna do a 2, 5 in front of F. So now we're thinking in a new key. Just for a minute, we're thinking in a new key. F, let's take F. 1, 2, okay, so there's 2, it's G. 3, 4, 5, so there's 5, it happens to be C. So for this brief moment, we're thinking in our brains, we're gonna switch keys and we're gonna play a 2, 5 leading to the 4. So that's gonna sound like this. Pretty normal, familiar sound, but if we add it into the original thing that we played in C, we'll find that, hey, that sound is not, that's not unfamiliar, the whole thing strung together. Check this out. That's used in so many tunes over the years. But what happens if we play in a completely different key? Let's go to something wacky like, I don't know, G flat. Let's play this in G flat. 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. 2, 5 to the 4. Same thing, but now I don't have to think of each different instance of that chord sequence in its specific terms. I don't have to think C, F, E, A, D, G, C, and then G, C to F. I don't have to think about that, because if I do, now when I go to G flat, I gotta think of a totally different set of names. I gotta go G flat, B, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. And as everybody knows, musicians are lazy and we don't want to have to think about more things than we absolutely have to. So instead of having to remember all those different names, why don't we just think of it in numbers and we'll call it the same thing no matter what key we're in. This is the secret to playing in any key. If you start thinking about everything in terms of numbers and not the names, now you can refer to the same numbers no matter what key you're in. And by thinking about the numbers, it helps you to visualize the scale. So if I think, say I'm in A major and I want to say 1, 5, 7. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I can do the exact same thing in D flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, this is a concept that a lot of you are probably already familiar with. But if you're one of those people, here's something that you can try to really practice this. Take a tune that you know how to play or that you like to play and play it in all 12 keys. Might take you a while, it might be difficult at first, but the results are definitely worth it. And over time, you'll slowly but surely develop the ability to think about whatever it is that you want to play and be able to at least think through it, you know, in every different key. And with enough practice, pretty soon you can just do it in real time. But yeah, you have to play scales, and yeah, they suck, but whatever, do it anyways. But anyways, thanks for watching this video. If you felt like you got something out of it, hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed already and you would like to do so, please do. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if there's other things that you'd like me to touch on or explain, or any musical questions that you have. And yeah, thanks for watching.